Hi everyone and welcome to the Publishing Performance Show. Today I'm delighted to be joined by Jay Stiles, who is an Amazon best-selling author and a professional coach. So welcome to the show, Jay.
Hey, thank you, Teddy, for having me. Thank you for having me.
No problem. So today we're going to be talking about business books and how you can use business books to use lead generation, to grow your career, all those sort of things. So why don't we start a little bit with your background and what inspired you to begin writing business books?
Absolutely. So my background is pretty much in entertainment, and how I got started with writing a book is I put out a documentary, my first documentary back during COVID 2020, and I released the documentary that year. And in February, I had one screening for it, and then the next month, everything shut down due to the stay-at-home mandates and COVID. I lost a lot of momentum as far as the screenings because I wasn't able to promote the documentary. So I knew I had to pivot in marketing. And so what happened is maybe within 2 months, I read an article and it talked about how people were buying books during the whole stay-at-home mandate. So the book sales were surging. So I thought to myself, I said, you know what? What if I took the message from the documentary and transformed that into a book format? And that would, get people excited about the actual documentary and want to go to Amazon to purchase the actual documentary. And that's exactly what happened. And not only that, it allowed me to expand my reach because I was booked on podcasts. I had featured articles that were in publications, and I was invited to speaking engagements too, which led to me expanding my reach and basically promoting the documentary itself from the book. And then something amazing happened too, as well, that I wasn't even expecting. A lot of people were reaching out to me and say, Jay, man, I love the documentary. I love the book. How did you finish your book? And they just started asking me different questions and wanted advice on how I was able to finish my book. And I was like, you know what? I think I should take the knowledge, not the knowledge that I have, and teach people basically how to do it for themselves. And so that's basically how I started my coaching business.
Nice. So you say you're in entertainment. What were you doing for?
So I started out as a radio personality. So I worked at a radio station. I'm from Atlanta, Georgia, and then I moved out to Los Angeles, and I started working here for a radio station. And then I did some commercials, and then I started doing I guess writing behind the scenes, writing for my own content, my own documentaries, things of that nature. And so again, that's why I put out that documentary back in 2020. It was something that I always wanted to do. It's a documentary series, and it's titled Become Inspired, just what this book is titled behind me. So yeah, so that's pretty much what my background is.
That's amazing. The radio DJ, that's my ideal job. So you have to give me some tips one day. So what was the documentary about?
So it was actually a documentary on inspiration. So I felt like Instagram was really becoming what it is now, is really a highlight. It's a highlight reel of the favorite parts of your life. And it doesn't really share the transparency of your journey. Because a lot of people, they may see me interviewing celebrities, or
Yeah.
they may see me with this documentary, but they automatically assume that I just got to where I am today just, magically. So I wanted to bring people on my show or in the documentary who were very successful in entertainment that were my friends. And I wanted to basically have a platform for them to show their like a full transparency in their story, just so people will understand and get inspired from their story and say, hey, you know what, she didn't start out as this particular person, or he didn't start out as this particular person. It was a journey for all of them, and now they are very successful. So just to kind of spread that inspiration in the world, because we need more of it. And so that was a documentary, and it was, it did really well.
Amazing. That's really cool. Did you interview some big people then?
You said big people?
Well, like famous people, yeah.
Well, no,
Not like
it wasn't.
big.
Oh, no, it wasn't. It wasn't famous people at all. But these people are very successful. These are just individuals that I know that are in the business, and they're just very successful. But it wasn't like big time celebrities or anything. But they're very
Cool.
successful in their work.
Yeah, nice.
Mhm.
So the Guest Inspired documentary that led to you writing a business book kind of around the
Mhm.
same topic. So that book is it about inspiring people to do something interesting with their life? Is that the aim of the book?
Yeah, so the whole theme of become inspired is pretty much it's a book where I talk about bits and pieces of my life of how, my passion was to become a, radio personality and all the things that I went through and how I had to find different ways to motivate myself to continue to move forward because I had a lot of roadblocks. And I just give like different tips and different ways to, basically stay motivated. So that's pretty much what the book was.
Right, nice. So why don't you talk us through a bit about how you wrote that book? Because it sounds like that was your first book, and you just jumped straight in at the deep end by writing a
Yeah.
book and getting on with
Mhm.
it.
So that was my first book. So that my second book was that I just published. It's called Lead Sales, Profits and Growth: How Writing a Book Can Help Grow Your Small Business. So that was more so of an ebook. So how I wrote both books, pretty much how I got from the writing idea is pretty much I have like a little strategy. So if I get an idea, the first thing I want to do is really define my target audience and really get
Hmm.
clear on who the book is for. And then when I get clear on who the book is for, I kind of marinate on that for a while. I will actually think about and do some research on three top problems of my target audience and the solutions that I have for them. And then I will actually play with ChatGPT. I will utilize that and then, discover some of these problems and then use my experience as well, from the questions that people ask me all the time as far as, regarding these different problems. And then I'll incorporate that into GTP, and then I will have it normalize me a outline, formalize me an outline on the actual book by typing in a very specific output, that includes like the target audience. It includes why I'm writing the book and the solutions. And then from there, I asked ChatGPT to give me a outline with chapters and subchapters that is comprehensive. And then I just go back and forth and keep generating that actual output, and taking things out, putting things in until I come up with the outline
Mm,
that I really like. And that's pretty much how I do for, both. That's how I did for both my books. Well, actually, for
yeah,
the first book, I just really, because ChatGPT wasn't out yet. So for the first book, I just pretty much just brainstorm. But for the second book, I brainstorm, but I utilize ChatGPT to really spark my ideas a little bit further.
yeah. So you talked at the beginning about identifying your target market. So how did you know who your target audience were? Did you just imagine who you thought would buy your book, or did you have a specific set of people in mind?
Actually, that's a very good question. So what I tell my students is that the way you identify your target audience is a mirror of who you once were at the time.
Hmm.
And so for me, for both books, my target audience was a mirror of who I was at that particular time. And
Right.
so with lead sales, profits, and growth, there was a time when I was building my coaching program that I really was confused on how a book can really grow my business. I didn't know things about funnels, things of that nature. So I focus on people who are business owners, who are new to the business,
Yeah.
and who don't know a lot about funnels and
Mm.
and lead magnets, things of that nature. So that's how I identify my target audience. So I identify my target audience as someone who I once was, pretty
Yeah.
much.
Right. Interesting. Because basically, your book is aimed at people who have either got businesses, or they are coaches, or they're entrepreneurs, or they've got a story to tell, and
Exactly.
you help them to create that book and to market it. So why don't
Exactly.
you? What is the main advantage for business owners who want to write a book? What's the main benefit for them?
Well, one of the main advantages of, writing a book is building instant, credibility. So the thing about writing a book is that, anyone can really write a book. Anyone can do it, but most people won't write a book because it takes a special level of dedication that a lot of people won't put forth, because it requires, more work than most marketing strategies out there. So that's why they
Hmm.
may lean into the other marketing strategy, because of writing a book is, it's more work. But it has more advantages was when you write a book based on your topic and your expertise, and you are providing solutions to a problem, you are really setting yourself up and your business up, for a lifetime of clients, because, you are offering, you can offer your book as a lead magnet, as a top of funnel. and then your audience or your customers into your sales funnel, and you're able to target to them, and you're able to lead them to your medium to high ticket offers. So that's how, writing a book can really help grow your business. And not only that, establishing yourself as an industry expert, and that's what a book does for you. It establishes you as an industry expert. It leads to more visibility, and visibility leads to more business growth because, people see you on podcasts, they see you on news segment, they see you on, speaking engagements. So that visibility, they want to be connected with you some way and somehow. And so if they feel like if you can actually transform their life or their business, then they're going to pay for your services. And again, it just makes your business grow. It's like a domino effect. It's like,
Hmm.
when one domino falls, then all these other dominoes fall. So the book is the
Yeah.
first domino that needs to fall before all these other things transpire.
That's interesting. So I mean, it doesn't sound like a book is going to be right for every single type of business owner, or do you have specific industries where you think this is the best way to do that marketing?
You know what? To be honest, Teddy, I feel like a book really would benefit every business owner. So
Okay.
even if you are a brick and mortar, you have a brick and mortar business, that's totally fine. And you're probably doing great on a local level, but what if you were to write a book on that product that's really selling in your store? Or what if you to
Hmm.
write a book on, how to become, a brick and mortar entrepreneur? When you do that, you're setting yourself up, you're expanding your business online, and you are multiplying, digital assets online that will increase your revenue ultimately. And then not only
Hmm.
that as well, if you're a service-based business and you are providing a need, you can be a coaching consultant, you can be in real estate, you can be a lawyer, you can be in
Hmm.
technology, building apps. But if you are providing people with a need, you can multiply, that book into digital products that's going to increase revenue for your business. So that book can become
Hmm.
a $97 course. It can be a $97 workshop. It can be a 1997 uh, 3-day boot camp. So it can be so many things. It can be a VIP day weekend. So these are extra digital products that doesn't cost inventory that can
Hmm.
provide revenue for your business. And so I
Yeah.
feel like for any business owner to eliminate the possibility of writing a book, I think that's pretty insane because it can really provide you with more revenue for your business.
Yeah. Interesting. I was actually doing a consulting call with a dentist the other day, and she's writing a book about oral hygiene just for that exact reason, so that she
See?
can help to improve her growth. But she's also writing a book about how to start a dentist business, which is quite
Right.
interesting because it's a
See?
completely different angle. Yeah.
Right. And see, and a dentist, again, it's a local, it's a brick and mortar business, it's local, but you can only go so far with the brick and mortar business. You can only get so many local customers. So
Hmm.
it's time to kind of expand your thinking and how can I push my business online? So now that she's
Hmm.
doing that, when she's able to write a book, she becomes a industry expert. She'll get booked on podcasts. She get booked for speaking engagements, which is another, it's another round of income for her business.
Hmm. Yeah, definitely. Have you got any good examples of some of the clients you've worked with where writing the book has really helped them?
So one of my clients, he was a shy guy. He's a motivational speaker now, but he was aspiring at the time to be a motivational speaker. And he has ADHD. So I really had to really work with him to finish his book. And now that he's finished his book, he's been on stage with Les Brown, who is a big time motivational speaker. I'm not sure if you know who Les Brown is. And now he has his own coaching program teaching other shy introverts how to break out of that and become a motivational speaker. And I think the best part for me when I see my students is seeing them transform from who they were to who they are now.
Hmm.
Again, because this guy was shy, he was an aspiring speaker. He wasn't there
Hmm.
yet, but he knew he wanted to write a book. And when he went out on speaking engagements, he wanted to have something to actually sell. And
Yeah.
so now that he's actually doing that, and he has a coaching program, he has transformed into the best version of himself. One of my other students, now she wanted to write an ebook and use that as a lead magnet for her business. And she wrote this in 2021. And I promise you, Teddy, she from that one ebook in 2021, she always shows me she gets maybe 15 to 20 leads per week in the transportation industry. That's a big industry. She gets 20 to 15 to 20 leads per week, and she closes maybe 65 to 70% of those leads with, courses or signing up for her programs. Every time she shows me that, it's like, wow, and that's off of ebook. It's very it can be very lucrative. I tell people, don't look at how much you're making from your book. Don't worry about that. You want to understand that the book is positioning you to put you in as a industry expert, and then from that, that's when the money comes in from the different opportunities that you'll have from that.
Yeah, for sure. So just before that, you talked about the book being the top of the funnel. So what do you mean by that? And how do you use that top of the funnel? How do you get that book in front of people?
So that's a good question, Teddy. So the funnel is simply just the customer journey and actually buying your products. So your customer is actually going to go through four phases. So awareness, interest, desire, and then action. And so as your customer goes to the top of your funnel, so the top of your funnel may be a social media ad or it may be a Facebook ad. So that is the awareness stage. So that's you are making your customer aware of their problem. And so they'll just go down your funnel. As they become interested, they'll read a little bit more, and they'll want to know more about you and your product or your services that you offer, and they'll continue to move down your funnel to actually buy your product. So that's pretty much basically what a funnel is. And then top of funnel again is just the awareness stage. You want to make people
Mm-hmm.
aware of their problems, because a lot of times your customers are not aware of their problems,
Mm.
and or they're not aware of a solution for the problem. So you have to make them aware of their problem, and you have to actually make them aware that you have a solution for their problem.
So
Right.
the book is part of the awareness stage. So in my example earlier of the dentist, she might use the book as like for oral health. That might be the top of the funnel because people think, okay, actually I do have sore teeth or I need to improve my health. If I read this, then I want to understand more. But then within there, she shows her expertise, can then demonstrate how she can provide extra services. Maybe there's courses about oral health or something later on.
Exactly. Exactly. Because at the top of the funnel is more about educating and enlightening people
Mm.
of the problem and the solution. And then when people have that aha moment, they say, "Oh, okay," and then they get a little bit more interested, and then they begin to actually research the solution a little bit. And then, they are ready to take action and actually, buy one of your services or your products. So they say it takes what 7 times for a customer to actually buy one of your products. They have to see it 7 times.
Mm-hmm.
So it's and the thing too about having a funnel is basically nurturing that relationship with email campaigns. Just providing as much expertise and explaining simple things. Just building that relationship. And when people actually see you as that expert, and you stay on top of their mind, as soon as they're ready to actually buy your services, they'll come straight to you.
Mm. So because this book is at the top of the funnel, how do you get it in front of customers? Is it just a case of putting it on Amazon, hoping people find it, or do you use ads in a particular way?
That's a great question. So I never use Amazon ads. I always believed in organic traffic. And I mean, you can definitely actually too. I'm going to be using Facebook ads for my lead sales profits and growth book, basically driving traffic to that actual website, and then my audience will actually download that free ebook, but they'll also get like a free mini course as well. And then from that, I will actually have a upsell or a tripwire where they will have a workshop. Like I'll introduce a workshop for them, which is like $47. And then from that $47, it just pays for the ads itself. And then I may have another upsell or something, or a downsell. And then, that's the end of the funnel. Well, actually, it's not the end because I still have the email address too. So it's really
Mm.
not the end of the funnel. So that's the great thing about having their email address, and that's why it's so important that I teach to my students that you definitely want to have your book on Amazon, but you also definitely want to have your own landing page for your book as well.
Hmm.
because you can't get the data from Amazon when someone actually goes and buy your book. Now, it's important to have your book on Amazon because Amazon acts as a search engine optimization. So it can actually rank, it ranks you in Google, when they type in your book. And not only that, when people search for problems, when they search for solutions for problems, the first thing they do is they will type in Amazon for a book. And
Hmm.
so if it's a possibility that your book may come up, and if you provided links in your book as a funnel, it leads them back to you and your services. So
Yeah.
it's important to have both. It's important to have your book on Amazon, as well as it's important for you to actually have your book on your own landing page as well.
Yeah. That organic rank part on Amazon is really important because obviously if you're doing ads, it costs money to get people to your page and then, they might not buy. If you can rank
Right.
organically, then you're getting free traffic, which is perfect.
Exactly. Did you hear it?
Just had that motorbike. So that organic traffic part with Amazon is really important because if with Amazon, if you have to pay for ads, then obviously it costs money and you might not even get that sale. Whereas if you're ranking organically, you're getting that traffic for free. So does that
Exactly.
mean does that mean with your books, when you're working with people and you're getting them to suggest a book, do you do a lot of keyword research to work out exactly what would be the best book to write?
Absolutely. I definitely do keyword research. So they have different softwares out there. I can't think of the top of my head. I do keyword research, and it basically tells you the top books in that genre, what keywords are
Hmm.
using, what keywords are ranking. And that's the thing too, it's really about those keywords and the categories that you choose
Yeah.
that's really going to make or break your book. But also too, not only that, is also too the type of book that you write if you are providing a
Mm.
solution for that book too. So there are different factors for having a successful book. So to answer your question, Teddy, definitely you want to have keywords, for your book that you place in Amazon so people can actually find your book.
So just going back to writing the book in the first place, you mentioned you use a bit of ChatGPT to help you write those sections. How do you come? Do you usually come up with an outline yourself first and then add that into ChatGPT, or do you even get that outline part done with ChatGPT as well?
No, so I use ChatGPT. That's what it's there for. It's there to spark ideas because
Hmm.
the older days, brainstorming takes forever. It takes forever to brainstorm just individually. Even with that book behind me, it took me forever to come up with the outline because I was sitting trying to figure out how I was going to do it. But that's why I like ChatGPT because it gives me ideas and then the direction. So I just put an output in there and I include my target audience, what type of book I'm trying to write, and the solution I'm trying to provide. And I'll just ask it to give me chapters and sub chapters, and it'll just spit out, all these different outlines. And I'll just keep hitting, regenerate, and it'll just, generate me a new one. And I'll just keep taking things that I want that I don't want in the outline out and adding things that I want in the outline in. And I'll
Mm.
probably do that for a week. I think for like my last book, Lead Sales Profits and Growth, it took me about a week to actually finalize the outline. But yeah, that's pretty much my process. So I start from scratch. I don't have an outline already built. I just, I use the output. I just type in the output and I let it do its thing.
Yeah, nice, very interesting. Now, with the broader strategy, how does it help? If someone was to work with you, for example, rather than doing it themselves, what would be the advantages they'd get from working with you?
Well, working with me, I'm working with my one of my clients now, and she has full access to me. So basically, we meet every week, and I'm actually, showing her all the steps. She's actually in the final stages of publishing her book, so we are in the uploading stage to Ingram and Spark. And so I take you through the whole stage, man, because writing a book, I had to learn a lot when I wrote my first book. And I felt like if I'm able to, teach other people how to do it for themselves, and all you need to do is learn how to do it that one time, and you can actually, self-publish your next book and your next book after that one. And so,
Mm.
working with me, I basically, I help you crush those limited beliefs that you may have. You probably think you're a new writer, so you got to be a professional type of writer to write a book, and those are all just limiting beliefs. Or you may feel like too that you don't have enough time to write a book, which is also a limited belief that I help you crush. And so basically, I'm your advocate. I am your coach, and I push you, to the highest level of actually, writing a book, but we go through it together. and you're not alone. And I keep you accountable. And a lot of times with my clients too, they want to give up, but I don't let them give up. So I'm there to keep you accountable.
Yeah, nice. You should be a motivational speaker as well.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Thank you, Teddy.
Yeah, I won't let you give up. No, that's brilliant. So, I mean, this all sounds really interesting. I mean, a lot of people that are going to be listening to this, they won't have written their book or maybe done much writing at all before, apart from, emails or, passive aggressive notes to their colleagues. So do you think anyone can really write this book? And if you're a business owner?
Absolutely. Absolutely. If you're a business owner, take out that thought that you don't need to write a book because you're a brick and mortar. And definitely if you are a service-based business, you need to consider writing a book. I mean, why not? If you have the opportunity for a book to, make more opportunities for you, make more revenue for your business, I don't see why you wouldn't do that to get you in front of a new audience, get you in front of more people who can buy your services.
Yeah.
I don't understand why you wouldn't consider that, but if you do need help, I am here. You can go to my website at www.aaocgrowyourbiz.com and, we can actually work together.
Great. Perfect. We'll put a link to that in the show notes as well. So if people want to get in contact with you as well, do you have any social media or email or anything that you'd like to share so that people can get in touch with you?
Yep. So everything is JAY Styles, STYLES TV. So that's all my social media links too. And if you really want to understand how a book can really elevate your business and elevate you as a person, as a business owner, and as an industry expert, I really invite you to download my ebook. It's a short read. I have an audiobook as well. It's you can go to leadssalesprofitsandgrowth.com. And the ebook is on there. And when you download the ebook, I give you a free mini course just to get started with your book, with your ebook, or with your book. And then also I give you a free mock-up landing page. So it's like a done-for-you landing page as well. But reading that book, I think it's maybe 20 pages, 25 or 30, probably. I can't remember. It's a short read, but it breaks down everything you need to know on why you should write a book. And again, there's an audio version as well on the website.
Perfect. Great. Well, thank you so much for that. Well, thanks for spending your time with us today. I really appreciate you, giving us these great answers and telling everyone how they can write a book.
Absolutely.
So just before we go, we've got one more question, and that is, what is one book you recommend everyone should be reading?
One book. You know what? I'm going to go with Robert Kiyosaki, man. Rich Dad, Poor Dad. It opened up my eyes. Have you read that book, Teddy? Robert Kiyosaki?
Yeah.
Rich Dad, Poor Dad? Yeah. So it really just opened up my eyes on how money works. For all my real estate gurus out there, I'm pretty sure you read that book, but it just opened up my eyes on how, real estate works and how you have to think about money as as an asset. And so that would be a book that definitely I would recommend anyone and everyone to read. Even if you don't want to get into real estate, it's a great book on just teaching you the value of money and having assets and not liabilities. And that's so important. I think I really think that book should be a textbook in schools, to be honest with you. But that would be the book that I choose. Rich Dad, Poor Dad, Robert Kiyosaki.
Great. Well, thanks for coming on, Jay. It's been great chatting to you, and we'll speak again soon.
Thank you, Teddy.
Thank you so much for tuning into the Publishing Performance Podcast. I really hope you found today's episode inspiring. I love chatting to authors, writers, and people in the publishing world. Now, just before we wrap up, let me tell you about Publishing Performance, the #1 platform for authors who want to increase Amazon book sales, but are not really sure where to start. Now, this show is all about helping you to sell more books. And if you're looking to boost your publishing game and to maximize your book's potential on Amazon, then Publishing Performance is designed to help authors just like you to grow your readership and to reach a much wider audience. Now, I know that Amazon ads can be slightly complicated, which is why Publishing Performance is like having a personalized ad account manager to create your ad campaigns, to choose your best keywords, and to make adjustments in real time. Now, if you're investing in ads, you really want to make sure that your investment is being used effectively. And Publishing Performance does just that. It aims to make your budget go further, improve your organic rank, and target keywords more effectively. Just go to publishingperformance.com to get started with Amazon ads for just $1.